Passing out microphone 2.
Bishop, Pastor Jeff Johnson, University Lutheran Chapel. Just a point of clarification. I think I understand, but I need a little more explanation about why the nominations that were submitted from the floor yesterday for the at-large position weren't distributed this morning. Could you give that to me?
Because we're not considering them. We explained that last night.
Okay, and so Pastor Robyn Hartwig submitted my name for nomination yesterday on the floor. And my understanding is that because the Constitution requires the Synod Council to have only 40% clergy, the 4 nominations that were submitted yesterday as clergy were deemed ineligible for consideration. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So then my follow-up question is this. If I were to be nominated next year in our district for a clergy slot on Synod Council, I would be eligible along with the other 4, the candidates that were deemed ineligible yesterday for consideration. Is that correct?
We'd have to look into that, Jeff, given your situation.
So this is where I think I'm confused, because it seems like there was some kind of ruling yesterday that my situation as a clergy person called to an ELCA congregation deemed me ineligible for consideration for the at-large position. So I would be eligible then next year to be nominated for a clergy slot in our district. That's what I need clarification on.
I don't believe that that would be the case, Jeff.
Okay, so then as a clergy person, I'm ineligible for consideration in this election, and I wouldn't be eligible as a clergy person next year in the election for the Synod Council. Is that correct?
That would be my understanding.
Okay. It feels a little strange to me. It feels a little, it just feels a little inconsistent. So I need, I think, to understand what that is all about.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Joseph.
No, I know. Jeff, I think you know what the situation is. You're a non-ELCA clergy person serving an ELCA congregation. You're not eligible to be put forward as a clergy person nominee for the Synod Council.
But I am eligible to be eliminated as a clergy person from consideration. Is that correct?
Well, Jeff, everybody was eliminated yesterday.
Yeah, I'm not. I understand, and I actually support the constitutional requirement. It seems to me that there's a standard that's being applied inconsistently. That and I think I support a standard, but I think it should be applied consistently, and that the same standard should rule us ineligible or eligible. But there shouldn't be a different standard this year from next year.
Yeah, okay. You raise a good point, and we'll attend to that. Thank you, Jeff. You
Just
have
another
voice,
point.
which you're exercising now.
Right. So it feels like to attend to that, we need to attend to it prior to the election this morning.
No,
Correct?
we don't. I don't believe we do. I think your point is well taken, and we will make sure that we are consistent leading up to the next assembly. Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. Right. Microphone 2.
Pastor Robyn Hartwig, Lutheran Church of Our Redeemer, Sacramento, with I think this is a point of personal privilege. I did nominate Pastor Jeff Johnson for the at-large position, and I'm also very much in support of having full lay participation on Synod councils and committees. We passed a second resolution as an assembly that was expressing our concern as a synod to the larger church that certain people are being excluded from the clergy roster, and many of those people, many, are serving our congregations in this synod. The dilemma for me is I don't know how we get a single one of their voices on our synod council at this point. I tried to nominate Pastor Jeff Johnson for consideration for the assembly to the at-large position. He's being excluded from that because he is clergy, and a number of others who we might like to nominate would be excluded for the same reason. And then next year, if somebody would like to nominate him for a clergy person representative to the Synod Council from his district, that can't happen either. I think it's very important that we have some of these voices at least available for consideration for election to the Synod Council to let this assembly floor determine whether we might like to have somebody like Pastor Jeff Johnson, Pastor Steve Sabin, Pastor Megan Rohr, and so many others who are giving their lives and so much of their times to the ministry of our synod. But at this point, it doesn't seem that there's any way this year or next year that we can even consider having one of these people who are members of ELCA congregations even considered for election to Synod Council. And I hope that there's something we can do about that to make that more fair.
We've clearly heard your concern, and we can look at this as the executive committee of the Synod Council.
I think you might meet their needs by simply making sure that their points of privilege are noted in the records of this assembly. And I think they've done a long way toward it.
We will make sure that your points of personal privilege here are noted in the minutes of this assembly, and they will be duly considered. Thank you. We now need to proceed into